Hello, and welcome back to the Breadwinner podcast. I'm your host, Caroline, and we are here to talk about all things sourdough microbakery. This episode is one of kind of a little series. We're getting ready for the Breadwinner Summit, which is happening in just a few days on Monday, April 14th. If you're tuning in after the fact, check down in the show notes and I'll link you to a spot where you can check out a recap of the event. But in today's episode, I am going to walk through some strategies to help you get the most out of the summit. So whether you've already claimed your free ticket or if you're kind of wondering how you're going to fit it in with your schedule, this episode is for you. I know we all have such a full plate. We have family, baking. A lot of you are even juggling another job. And now the summit might just feel like something else added in, and it might feel stressful trying to take advantage of this opportunity to learn from experts and other bakers. And I want to kind of equip you with a strategy and give you sort of a method to make sure that you feel confident and feel like you can approach it with intention and not just get fully overwhelmed by the content. And if you're anything like me, you've gone to conferences before or attended events, filled up a notebook with pages and pages of notes, and then never opened it again. The intention of this episode is kind of to give you a simpler strategy, a way to pay attention to what needs to be noticed and kind of enter it with a filter. So we're going to dive right into summit strategy. And the very first step that I suggest you start with is to know your intentions. So pause and ask yourself, what is one area of my business that I really want to improve on this quarter? So the summit is jam-packed. And you don't need to consume everything. Things like the wholesale conversation might not pertain to you if you are in a state or an area that does not permit wholesale. So automatically you can skip right over that. So rather than feeling like you need to consume everything within the 2 days, let's get clear on priorities. So maybe your intention or the area that you really want to improve this quarter is getting more repeat customers. Maybe it's streamlining your processes so you're not exhausted or feeling more confident in your pricing. Maybe it is selling out more consistently without constantly posting, or just building systems so that it's not all on your shoulders and not all living in your head. Yours could be completely different from those, but those are some ideas. So once you've identified your 1 to 2 top focus areas, use those to guide which sessions to prioritize. So the sessions are organized according to the 6 pillars that I've talked about before that I've identified as necessary for building a successful business. So marketing, sales, product optimization, process optimization, cash flow, and lifestyle optimization. We have at least one session on each of these topics, and it's a pretty well-rounded mix, but we're not covering every single sourdough business topic. So there will also be some conversations themed around topics like hiring help, investing in equipment, increasing your average order value. You'll find those within the summit community that you'll get access to soon. So pay attention to what serves you and know that if you're focusing your energy on those areas where you're going to see the most improvement, then even if you're missing out on a nugget here or there, you will see the most improvement and be the least likely to come away overwhelmed and just feel like you've been drinking from a fire hose if you really pay attention to the conversations that are going to meet you where you need to grow. So once you have identified what matters the most to you, take a few minutes to plan how you're going to engage. So like I said, the summit is jam-packed. The schedule is back to back, and there are even a handful of sessions that overlap. So as with a business conference where you're attending in person, there are going to be some occasions where you're going to have to choose between 2 sessions. Now, I'm getting ahead of myself a little bit, but you will have access to all of the sessions for 48 hours after the event, even on the free ticket. So if you can't decide between the sessions, you can go back around and watch one later. And then, of course, we're going to talk a little bit more about the All Access Pass in a minute, but that gives you lifetime access to everything. So you do not need to stress about listening to everything all at once. You just can digest it on your own time. So all of the sessions are pre-recorded with the exception of the 4 live Q&A conversations with our keynote speakers. So those are the ones that if you feel like you do want to ask a speaker a question, or if you want to hear what others are asking in real time, Those are the ones to prioritize and block off. If you've already gotten your ticket, you'll be getting the full schedule of the event in an email today. And if not, you'll get an email with it once you do grab that ticket. Each session will also have a chat that runs alongside of it as the conversation opens up. And that is another advantage to jumping in during the scheduled time for some of these conversations that you've identified as a top need. So this is where people will be discussing what they're hearing, talking about takeaways, asking questions, engaging with the conversations. So as you're considering which sessions to prioritize, think about the ones that you want to be a part of the conversation and hear what other people are saying so that you can jump on the chat while that is live and active. With all that said, you do not need to catch every little thing in real time. Every session is going to stay open for 48 hours after the event, so you have a little breathing room. And then, of course, the All Access Pass gives you even more flexibility. I know there are a lot of areas where your kiddos are on spring break this week, and the idea of sitting and listening to conversations online for 6 straight hours is just, it's not going to happen. Those kiddos do not want mommy sitting on the couch for 6 hours. Or you're juggling a baking schedule. That is where I created the All Access Pass to serve you. It gives you lifetime access to all of the sessions, both in video and in private podcast form. So you can watch or you can listen, you can repeat them, you can rewind, or you can go back to the ones that really hit hard for you, or you can put a pin in something and come back to it in 6 months. It might not be relevant now, but it might be necessary later. So in addition to the recordings, there's a bundle of bonus tools, my recipe calculators in there, my pricing and profit margin calculator that I've been working on will finally be released in there. Sunrise Flour Mill is giving a free 2-pound bag of flour to everyone with an upgraded ticket. We have some speaker bonuses, just some really, really neat things. And I have just packed that All Access Pass with as much goodness as I can for you. So if you're in a season where you just can't drop everything for a summit, that the All Access Pass is exactly for you. And whether you're attending live or not, I do recommend printing out or bookmarking the session schedule. Like I said, if you've gotten your free ticket, you'll get an email with the schedule. And then highlight your must-watch sessions and put any live calls into your calendar. You're also going to get access to the Summit community before too long, and you'll be able to click into each of the events that you really want to join and be reminded of to add them to your own calendar to make it even easier to keep track of them. Okay, let's talk about notes now, because I know how easy it is to watch a whole bunch of sessions and feel really inspired. Like I talked about before, write pages and pages of notes and then just never go back to them. So here is my tip. Keep it really simple and keep it really strategic. Instead of trying to capture every quote that inspires you, just ask yourself, what is one thing that I can try this week or even this month? So I recommend organizing your notes into 3 sections. First is your quick wins. These are something that you could try and implement in the next 7 to 14 days. The second section is your long-term ideas. These are something that needs more planning, more thought. Maybe you're not ready to implement, but you want to remember to circle back to it. And then your follow-up questions. So these are things that you might want to ask during a Q&A or jump over into the session conversation and ask it there. These are the things that you want to engage with your fellow attendees on or with the speakers and dig a little deeper. The goal here is to walk away with actionable clarity and not just a giant stack of notes and not a feeling of overwhelm or a feeling of having so many options and so many ideas that you just don't know where to start. And then the final step is where the magic really, really happens. And that is accountability. That is where your community comes in. And that is going to be part of the beauty of the summit, is that you will get to connect with fellow bakers and find someone to be your accountability buddy. So the summit's going to give you the tools and the clarity and the encouragement, but the real momentum comes from what you do with it. So it's really common with an event, whether it's virtual or whether it's in person, to have kind of an event high. So you feel super optimistic and inspired and excited for the day or two after. And then it all just sort of fizzles out and you're like, oh, wait, there's so much. And where do I even begin? And all of these cool people that I just connected with are no longer part of my life. And how do I keep going? So that's where accountability comes in. I encourage you to find an accountability buddy. You may already know someone who would be great for this, but if not, the summit is going to have opportunities for you to connect with people near you. It's really easy within the summit platform to connect with people who are either near you or similar to you. It has some technology that works behind the scenes that connects you with people you have something in common with. So I would say try to check in once or twice during the summit if you're able to connect early on and ask what stood out to you, ask what's one thing you're going to apply, and where are you stuck. And then connect afterwards too and ask those same questions. You can do this solo also. The questions to add to your reflection would be, what did I learn? What can I apply? And what do I still need help with? These simple questions are going to help you clarify a next step strategy and keep it small without feeling like you need to do all the things all at once, because that is just not practical. And that's what leads to just kind of fizzling it out and doing nothing. Remember, this isn't about overhauling your entire business. It's about taking small steps. Small steps matter so much more than perfect execution. I love saying done is better than perfect, and just taking one small step is going to propel you forward more than letting a million small steps just swim around in your head. So implement one strategy from the summit that could make a big, big difference in your confidence, in your energy, in your income, in your clarity, in the way that you show up in your community. There's another next step that I'll talk about more. You'll get an email about it if you've already gotten your ticket towards the end of the summit. And I'll talk about it a little bit during the summit as well. If you find that accountability, that community, the connection with people who are really actively building a business and going after the big goals, if that lights you up, if that's something that you're not able to find locally and you just want to connect in a community of bakers that get you, the summit is going to roll over into a new community called the Breadwinner Network. And anyone with an all access pass is going to get their first month of access into the network for free. It's not going to be a big investment either. It's going to be a pretty low price, but just an area where you can come together, grow together. There will be monthly calls with me. We'll bring in experts. We'll do a quarterly reset workshop just to make sure that we are staying in touch with our values and our mission and building a business that fits our life. Like I said, I'll talk more about the Breadwinner Network a little bit later, but keep that at the back of your mind. If when you're thinking about this accountability, you're like, I can't find it. That's what I need, but I can't find it. It's going to be there in the network. Okay, so quick wrap up, recap. To get the most out of the summit, number one, know your intentions. Go in clear with a couple of goals to just focus on for the next quarter. Don't think about the whole year. Don't think about your 5-year plan. Think about what does your business need for the next 3 months. Plan ahead, highlight your key sessions, maybe prioritize those live Q&A conversations. Join the chats with the conversations that you feel you really want to learn from the most. And then know that you can circle on back and you have breathing room, especially if you have that all access pass. And then try to take notes that you'll actually use. Simple note, looking for one key takeaway per session, something to implement in a short term, something to put a pin in for the long term, or something to circle back and ask some questions around. And then stay accountable. Find a buddy up, check in during the summit and check in after the summit. That accountability is the magic that will keep you from fizzling out after the event high fades away. If you haven't gotten your free ticket yet, there is a link down in the show notes to do that. If you're already in, I want to hear from you. Tag me on Instagram, send me a DM, comment on YouTube. Let me know what you're most excited about learning or what you think you're going to focus on in the next quarter of your business. The summit is here to help you sharpen your strategy, deepen your impact, and grow a business that supports your life. It's going to give you such a big picture perspective as well as really clear small picture strategies. And I am so, so excited for you to be a part of it. Our next episode is actually going to be the kickoff call for the summit. So it'll air at 9 a.m. Central Time on Monday. And it'll share the vision and get us really excited for the event. And we will roll right from there into the first keynote session. And I am just so, so excited. I cannot believe this is finally actually here. And I will see you at the summit on Monday.